The New Brother Podcast.
Actually, really think about it. I wanted to discuss just I don't know what is your take on this? With the legalities of what the big investors are doing.
It just shows in general how there has to be some insider trading. You know how they say, "Oh, it's illegal." There's things out of our control, things that we don't know, things that we, as normal consumers, normal everyday people, are not privy to. We're not in these circles. We don't have that money, that buying power. So it doesn't surprise me. I'm just like surprised how everybody's basically in an outrage or trying to expose Robinhood or GameStop or these hedge fund people when it's like they've been doing stuff like this. It's just a different name.
Yeah, and and it's funny because now that I think about it, like that's why I think the black community embraced Martha Stewart, because when she went to jail for that kind of showed everybody that she was one of us.
Yeah.
She wasn't one of them. You know what I mean? Because if she was one of them, she probably would have never went to jail for doing that. But yeah, I was just looking at the whole dynamic of just how people got together, and from my understanding, these kids in this little group
Reddit.
on Reddit, they didn't even they were just kind of messing around with that stuff, and they just understood that if enough of us do this, then it's gonna move the needle.
That I feel like right now would be the perfect time for Hakeem to interject with something.
Yeah.
Because he would usually say, "Imagine if us as black people could do something like that."
And absolutely not, and that's what I'm looking at too. And then just moving forward, how do we put our money together? Just what I mean. How do we put our money together? That's what I'm looking at in the whole ordeal. Is where do we invest? I know scared money don't make money. Somebody was telling me the other day that they thought I was gonna invest too, but I was like, yeah, scared money don't make money. But ultimately, we just got to be able to put our bands together and make something happen. And it's just.
Have you invested in stocks ever? What do you own? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, but I think it was like 2018, 17, I was heavy into it. The only thing that turned me off is that I was doing so much trading and moving stuff around that when I had to do my taxes, they wanted to know every transaction. And I'm like, and I was pretty much like, I'm real impulsive with my trading. So a lot of that, like I was moving stuff around so much that my stocks was like, oh man, I was like, there was so much movement there that it was just a pain when I had to do my taxes. When did you buy this stock? When did you sell it? And I was like, dang. So when I seen that end of it, it was a real turnoff because I wasn't making enough money for that headache that I had to deal with. And I had some Bitcoins and some, some cryptocurrencies and stuff like that. And it was the same way too. When did I buy it? When did I sell it? And I was like, it was a couple of cents worth for it.
Right.
A couple of dollars here and there. What are you guys tripping about? So I think that was a turnoff. But I would like to definitely start getting into, like, I've been looking at I think what my boy does, he does foreign exchange and stuff like that. So I don't know, from my understanding of the foreign exchange, like some markets they don't even let you buy into, like it's only for certain people and there's restrictions and
Is that
stuff.
like China?
Yeah, I think yeah, probably China. I had looked into it a couple years back, but it was just like also, people put the fear into you of investing. Well, you got to watch it because there ain't no guarantees when you're doing stuff for overseas. And I'm like,
There's no guarantee for nothing.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And in all actuality, people got Swiss bank accounts because, you know what I mean? And these are the people that got the money. So what is that telling you? So, but yeah, no, I was just looking at this dynamic of how these kids disrupted this thing. And they're probably gonna do something in the future to monitor forums and the kind of information people allow. They're gonna really start getting into these things and putting moles in there. You know what I mean? Planting people into these forums to disrupt things like they're doing with social media. You guarantee that they I can guarantee you they're gonna want to put eyes on everybody's forums now. You know what I mean? Even no matter how small. But yeah, I'm just trying to figure out at what point, okay, like people are like, oh, that's illegal, and they're not supposed to be doing that, and hedge funds are selling, I don't know, stocks that aren't even there, or I just don't. I'm just trying to get a better understanding of how that works. Like, okay, what are the legalities of this? When are they breaking the law, and when?
They're making the rules up as they go.
Yeah,
They're making it up as they go, because it's something that's never been done before. If you think about it.
Somebody said in the past it was. I'm trying to think of what.
Or was it like a top secret group and not, because when these kids got all that money and fame or whatever, like they got to the point where they're not arguing about money. They're not worried about money. They're past that threshold. Money is not something that they're achieving or striving for because they already got it with that stock or with their gaming or whatever else they're doing on forums. Look at those TikTok people. You see how much those people be making on those downloads, on those views? TikTok, an app that hasn't even been around for 2 years.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? And then that's my thing too, is that I don't like to hop in on stuff whenever everybody else is on it.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying?
yes.
So I try to look at things. I try to be,
analytical.
Yeah, and then see things and be a visionary and see things before, like cryptocurrency. I feel like I got in too late. Now they're talking about like Dogecoin and stuff like that, and I'm like, okay, that might be the way to go, but I don't know. Just whenever the masses.
So how do you decide? All right, this is new. This is emerging. How much money should I invest? Should I jump in?
To me, $100 is a good starting point for me and my budget. I'm like, let's just throw. In my mind, I'm like, let's throw $100 at this and see what happens.
Right.
It's not like a devastating. It's a good amount of money, I think, and it's not really devastating if I lose it. And it's like, okay, you know what, move on to the next. But I think that's where my struggle is that like, okay, you got these forums where everybody's running, and they're like, okay, this group of people is gonna do this. We got Jamal 3 minutes away. So you got this group of people. Like, I like the group dynamic. I just don't like the trend dynamic. If you know what I mean? I don't like to do stuff that's because it's trendy or because everybody's like. Because I don't know. I feel like you get the people that follow trends are the ones that are being controlled.
Yeah.
And I don't want to have that same mind state. So I kind of stay away from stuff like that. But I want to just try to figure out how to build, within us, a group, that we can move together. You know what I mean? Without feeling like, oh, it's a trend. These guys are doing it, we're doing it. We're just a bunch of other people just late to the party. You know what I mean? So I think that's ultimately what I want to try to figure out is, okay, let's be precise. You know what I mean? Let's put our money together, and set realistic goals and figure this thing out to where, and that's one of the things that Hakeem brings to the table that I always like is he's like, if you don't like the way somebody's getting down, then stop participating. Right. You know what I mean? So I think the goal is try to figure out, how to stop participating, or not only that is how to, have this microcosm of an economy within the economy. You know what I mean? Because ultimately, one of the downsides that people, we got a system in place that we're used to. And this is one of the downsides to what is being spoke about. I like the whole robbing from the rich, giving to the poor mentality, but also too, this is a system that we've been used to. So how do we navigate the new? What if it comes down to the barter system? Like, what would be your trade? You know what I mean? What can you provide your neighbor in order to get meat or bread? You know what I mean? So I think that's something that we got to look at too. Is just going back to learning trades. I was blessed to grow up in the 80s in the country, southern New Mexico, to where people were farmers out there. You know what I mean? Like, you knew, like, a lot of kids knew they were going to grow up and they were going to work at the farms. I thought I was gonna be a rapper, so I'm not doing none of this. I'm not learning a lot of this, but I still did pick up a lot about farming. I used to bale hay. I stopped doing it because like there were snakes in the hay. I didn't like snakes. I used to. It was this older gentleman named Doug Osborne. He used to pay you like $5 to do a whole field. Yeah. At the time, I was like, man, I'm dealing with like reptiles, bro. You got to step your game up. But anyway, yeah, I think that's what this situation is gonna come to, because the beginning of I get it. I like I said, I like the whole rob from the rich kids, but we're messing with things that's gonna mess up the whole dynamic. And in order for this thing to be rebuilt, it's gonna have to be destroyed completely. You know what I mean? And that in itself is a scary thought when you're thinking about the way that we've always done things is no longer gonna exist. And we're gonna just, you know what I mean? We're gonna have to build our whole world up again, and it's probably gonna be some, a lot of bloodshed. You know what I mean? People coming, because that's how it always is. Like, revolutions and stuff. There's a lot of bloodshed, and then from the ashes becomes another economy, and that's the scary part that people don't wanna fathom, is that we're gonna have to tear all this shit down in order to build something better. But then who's gonna be in charge of that new situation? You know what I mean?
Everybody's asking for a vaccine. Everybody asking for more money. But no one's saying, like, yo, let's tear down this constitution. Let's rewrite this shit. This budget, let's rewrite it. No more president. We got like a panel of people, 6, 7 people. Man, maybe like 6 or 7 people is too much. The Senate or the House of Representatives, which has like 400 something people, why? You know what I mean? Like, it gets to a point where it's too much people, too much voices, and I get the representation by states, but they can't get a deal done.
Yeah,
you can't sit down and be like, look, this is what we got to do for our people, for humanity, like, just a little bump.
Yeah, one of the things I look at when it comes to that is that I just feel like if you side with any political party, you're pretty much an extremist, because when you can sit there and ask somebody like, okay, what don't you agree with that your party does? People don't like that question, because then they don't want you to build and expound off of, well, I don't agree on the fact that they do yada yada, because now they're pretty much helping your argument. You know what I mean? But so my whole thing is, I don't side with a political party, because they have a bunch of different issues that I agree and disagree on. Like back when we were in gangs and stuff like that, and like we had rules, but a lot of times you overlook the rule because you were the one doing it. Like if you're like, all right, we're not gonna go up in nobody's house because there's moms and kids in there. But if your homie decided to do that, you would kind of overlook it because, you know what, we're us and they're them, type of deal. So that in itself is a gang mentality. Let me. Hey, what's going on? This is my guy Jamal.
Peace.
AKA Faded.
How you, brother? How you?
Great.
Yeah. So going back to that, we got Faded over here. Faded Saint coming in.
Hi.
Right. All right.
Oh,
So
we not. Ain't no video on.
no, yeah. So what we were just trying to figure out, like, okay, like as far as the hedge funds and like how, like, what do you think about the whole GameStop situation? Like, how could we use that and build?
I mean, first I just want to say peace, love, and light. You feel me? Shout out to the righteous man, woman, and child. Shout out to my tribe. Shout out to my gang and the whole nine. As far as the GameStop situation, I don't like to repeat and just regurgitate information without adding, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to it, and being able to either give it to somebody on their level. So what I will say, from my understanding, there's a thing called market manipulators or market influencers. It's almost like social media influencers, if you will. So these guys are have a very big platform and following. So if he goes on and says, yo, we heard that Raisin Bran been having bugs, you feel me, or whatever. He say something about Raisin Bran. He has enough following, enough influences that the shareholders are going to make a move based off of what he's saying. You see what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
if you really think about it, to me, that's the greasy shit. But that's allowable, and it's been going on for crazy long. And so what a lot of people don't understand, they think that individuals only make money on the market when the shit goes up. You actually can make bread when it goes down too. That's called a short.
Okay.
And so what they doing is they shorting stocks. I know that you got 10 million in GE. I can't give you no insider trading, but I can tweet, yo, GE, da 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 da, wink wink. Yeah. Next thing you know, you shorted the major percent of your GE portfolio, and the shit dropped crazy, which is acceptable, and it's been for years. So now with the advent of social media and what they call the retail traders, niggas is like, okay, we could get together and we can come through and we can maybe throw 5-10 million at the market, which is enough to make the market move. It's really not, compared to some of these hedge funds, it's really not a big splash, but it's enough to make the market move. And what that would be called is a short squeeze. So okay, since you niggas is shorting it, we're gonna squeeze you out of that short.
Okay, so when you say retail, you mean like the people that's using Robinhood?
Yeah, that's okay, like the small people. They're not the necessarily the market movers, because we don't have the capital. And prior to the Reddit situation, we wasn't practicing any group economics to say let's come together and do like a small hedge fund movement so we could squeeze them out of this short. Because the short shit is the bullshit if you really look at it. These guys already multi-million-dollar people, and they're taking advantage of what they call the retail traders. So like I said, with the advent of social media and people being able to just tap into a collective consciousness and make a move, they're like, all right, you want to short GameStop or you want to short whatever? When you get to shorting, we're going to pull together and we're going to squeeze. So while y'all got all this resources in the stock falling, we're going to push that motherfucker back up, and we're going to have our people flood in and get that influx from that stock raising up crazy. You don't, and it's just like whoever's a part of the page, whoever's following, they get the inside scoop. So it's almost like a reverse inside trading, or they pop the blue pill. You know, niggas sit on the red pill the whole time. It's like, nah, we gonna pop the blue pill on y'all. So you know, all the older people, all the rich people, they really having a problem with it.
Yeah, okay, so Melvin Capital was the actual company that they put the squeeze on, correct? Like, I guess that's what it was.
What do you mean when you say the company? Because GameStop is the company, but when you follow the money, you have like you say, these hedge funds.
Yeah, the hedge funds. So I think Melvin Capital was the ones that had the hedge funds.
They were one of them. I know BlackRock was another one. It's a lot of them. Like anytime you see stocks shorting, that's what's happening. These guys who in the market are considered whales are moving massive amount of money somewhere. So you can see it happening. It's not like that's the uncommon thing. The uncommon theme is the quote unquote David,
the squeezer,
fucking up Goliath.
Yeah.
That's what's got everybody mixed up. You know what I'm saying? So
I'm just trying to figure out what made them feel like they was gonna put the squeeze. Like, I wonder if they just got tired of the whole situation, or there was something that they had against just actual financial group, or what, you know what I mean? Like, what made them so angry to where they were like,
I don't think it's an anger thing. Like I said, in the advent of social media and the ability to be able to collectively pull consciousness, and having, like, you could dead ass take 4 months hard body and be, you know what I'm saying, Warren Buffett. This nigga used to have to fill out papers and have somebody come physically grab the paper to actually fill the stock. He had to go through mounds and mounds of information to do research. Now we can do this shit in 10 minutes. So motherfuckers are becoming professional traders in 4 to 6 months. So it's really not even a thing to say, I'm mad at them niggas. It's like, how can we get this money? We got social media. We got all these apps. I can get on here right now and record and touch bases with mad people and have enough people to say, you know what, I rock with that. I got 100. I got 100. I got 100. I got 100. Boom. We're going to put it all on Facebook. And because trading is public information. What they've been doing, like I said, is that they're not moving physical stocks. So you're not seeing, oh, these niggas just sold 150 million IBMs. You're not seeing that. They show up in the options form where they're doing shorts. So you like, wait a minute. You see AMC and you look at what ETFs, what holdings have, what holdings you can see. I forget Melvin.
Yeah.
And then you can see BlackRock and you can see their holdings in AMC and something like that. And then you can see all their short positions.
Okay, so break down options. I mean, I hear that term a lot, and I'm still haven't wrapped my mind around it.
Options is just a derivative of a stock. So first of all, what is the stock, right? Boom. Stock is a company, which is like a pizza, and it's allowing you to get a slice, a share.
Right.
So I'm going to retain 70%, but I'm going to also let 30% go to shareholders so they can have an effect and actually invest in the company. And I can take that money and I can, as a smart business person, I can reinvest that into growing and expanding the business. So that's what a stock actually is. So if you have an IBM that's trading on the market right now for $112 and I want to get 100 of those, right? That's what is that? $1,000 or something like that. Let's just say you can do the math to get the right number. But so to get 100 shares to see a 10% gain in 6 months is typically that gain. That's what you would do with the long hold. But options being a derivative would allow me to go temporarily grab 100 shares of that IBM with an expiration date. So I don't own it, but the options allows me to hold it for this expiration date. Now, I'm either going to bet on the short, which means I'm betting that it's going to drop from this 112, or I'm going to bet on the long, which means I might think based off of the past history, I've seen IBM increase 5% on a monthly. That bitch is going to hit 120 next month. So I'm just going to grab it with the time and hold it until it hits 120. That bitch might go to 125. So with the option, and when you're going for the long position, there's no cap on what you can make. If you got that bitch 6 months out and it hit your strike price of 120 in the first 2 months, you can still hold it. And it hit 130 and you might get 200-300. We've seen even 1,000% on a return off of one play. Just holding it long enough, letting it do what it do. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the option is. It gives you the derivative. You can buy one stock. That one derivative is a representative of 100 stocks. So instead of me having to drop a band and buying 100 IBMs and then holding that bitch to get a 10% return, I can get one option, and that option is worth 100 points. So it'll be like, instead of me having to pay that 100 for the IBM, it'll probably be like $14. You know what I mean? For that one times the 100 shares. You feel me? And that's how you come up with that price for your option. So it's an option, and more of a concise answer. An option is a derivative of a stock, and it's worth 100 shares, and you get to hold it with an expiration.
So that sounds like, I mean, a no-brainer when it comes to, you purchasing options sound like a no-brainer than purchasing, one share. I mean,
not necessarily. The options is very volatile.
Okay.
So if you bet at the 120 and that bitch go to 98 and then the option expire, you just lost everything that it might have been $100 that you put up, but you lose the whole 100 and it expires worthless. So it's an opportunity for you to lose an option. Stocks don't just go up.
Yeah.
But being that you're dealing with options, you also have more options. Because you could also say, okay, I thought it was going long and you see it's dropping, you can just put in a short. So you might have lost 30 on the long and made 70 on the short. You're still in profit.
Got you. So you just got to be on it and just, either way, you just got to
monitor it, see how it's moving. And that's why I was telling you before. People believe that you only make money on stocks when it goes up. But no, what they're doing is they're shorting these shits. Oh, you heard the E. coli, da-da-da-da. Now, wink, wink. Now you see the option is being shorted. So now they're just doing a bunch of calls. Doing a bunch of puts. And put is another word for shorting, which means you believe that the stock is going to fall. So you can make money on the fall too. That's what the whole AMC Gamestop is, because they're kind of crappy stocks. So it's no way, like, what the hell? This shit just went up 500% in 2 weeks, and AMC been closed and been tanking since the pandemic.
Right.
So we know it's like something's afoul. What's going on?
Yeah.
Me and Kenny across the street on Robin Hood don't have enough bread to make that move like that. So what's and who's pushing the stock up? That's when you have the Melvins and you have the Black Rocks, these hedge funds who have heavy positions where they can just short it or long it, and you won't see it. Like when you look at the report, you don't see these niggas physically move 1 million shares of IBM, but they're doing it in the options.
Okay, so yeah, because I came across somebody the other day. They were telling me that these companies make a living off of bankrupting companies, pretty much. How do you feel about it being put in that way?
I mean, I don't really know. You know what I mean? It's like Kronos ate his own kids. Like that's just the machine and how it works. It's really not like, you know, that's some humanity shit. Like, oh my God. But really, we talking about companies, which is a corporate entity, which is the paperwork. There's no human behind that. It's a straw man. It's a third party. Like, I can get 4 LLCs and they'd be like, yo, you know, son is bankrupt. Well, you know, Jamal's barbershop is, but me personally, I'm good. Like, that was a false entity. It wasn't me. So who was the corporation? I don't feel bad for these niggas. They're not people, but in reality, that's just how the game works. You have whales. Them niggas don't swim with sharks. As big and bad as sharks is, whales kind of move the current of the ocean. So when you're looking at the market, these big hedge funds are the whales.
Why are they trying to be the victim? Why are they not trying to take the L?
That's the whole thing. When you got the power, you're not gonna be the victim with the power. So you see these old ass white niggas, frankly, they've been, because this, you gotta think at it, we're in 2021. You know what I'm saying? I'm a, you know what I mean, elder millennial dude, and I'm barely getting access to this information.
Right.
How long has the market been alive? So these people have been squeezing and shorting, you know what I'm saying, mad long. And now finally these prick ass Generation Z guys get on here with their Robin Hood bullshit and they fucking up my money. That's how that shit works. That's somebody's grandfather talking that cash talk. Because he lost, you know what I'm saying, 50 million in about 30 minutes. So you goddamn right, Uncle Scrooge is out of his room with his fucking drawers up his ass. And at the end of the day, when you have the money, you get to create the narrative. But it's like when you just listen to it, it's like, okay, so y'all been shorting stocks? That's not an issue. You can just have your man tweet some shit, and everybody over here is like, oh, it's a good day in the office. We sold them shares of options and made 10 billion today. But the moment, you know, Davey come out with his rock and book up, come at Goliath with some action, it's a problem.
So where's the legalities come into play? Because everybody's like, well, this is illegal, that's illegal. I'm just trying to figure out on their end, what's the illegal? What are they doing?
Ain't shit illegal because it's in the options. It's not illegal. Like when you buy into the company, y'all might have got into an inception. So it's like y'all don't have cash volume, but y'all still have stocks. And you might be like, busted, I don't really want to take mine. Just let me hold mine in options derivatives, and I want them shits to inspire 4 years out. It's kind of like what Beyonce did with what she had to deal with Uber. She took her shit in stock options.
Yeah.
And now that option
she went in equity. Yeah,
went crazy.
She went in equity.
I'm telling you, she got them shits in stock options. So it's like, it might be trading. She might have got them shits at $6, and then the IPO opens at 20. Right. So she already, you know what I'm saying? And then a little bit later, then that motherfucker go to 50. I'm ready to cash these in, baby. Yeah. That's how that works. So it's really like, you don't really account for them dollars. It's a derivative. It's like a trust. The money working, but it isn't, you know what I mean? So now you still got other bread to put towards other places. And so you have these people who just have these options on the back end. They don't really have to touch them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, okay, we got a play coming. Then it's like, all right, I want to get rid of them shits. So I mean, that's kind of like the legal way to do it. If you do it any other way, it's kind of like the shit that got Martha Stewart. It's the insider trading shit. Just like when you talking about you get an IRA and you want to flood your IRA, you can flood it on the front end. It's only 6, but there's still another way to back in that bitch and add another 20,000 to it. I mean, you know what I mean? When it's supposed to be only a $6,000 1,000 a year limit. So everything have a loophole when it comes to the money. None of it is necessarily niggas ain't playing by the rules.
So so one of the things that was like brought up was that how so Robinhood, I guess they stopped people from purchasing that particular or those particular stocks.
Majority of the platforms did.
Okay.
They put a freeze on them shits.
So and that's perfectly legal.
I think this shit was unprecedented. It never happened before. There was never no social media. There was never no internet before. This shit is all new. So that's what, like, a lot of times people get, and it's funny because it's mostly our people, but people get lost. They don't understand how time works. They be telling niggas, oh, the reset. So they know their little moment of time is kind of over. That shit is dead. There's no, what are you going to go back from? You just shut down the whole internet? It's like, y'all niggas get them books, because we got the advantage. We was in them books. Like, fuck out of here, nigga. Give me 6 months. I'm Bill Gates. What are you talking? I mean, that's how you're seeing it happen. People are popping up millionaires like weeds.
Okay, yeah, because they were saying, the thing about the Robinhood thing was they were saying that it wasn't necessary. There's a possibility, okay, just play the devil's advocate, that the forum was too small to be able to handle all of that came in at them at one time. So they put a freeze on it because they needed to recalibrate their system because it was unprecedented. That's
I don't believe that.
Yeah, but it's like I said, it's a theory.
It's a both ways thing, because that's how it is. You know, whales eat smaller fish. So just as much as you've seen a couple kids, there was one kid in particular, his mom had bought him like 4 shares at Gamestop like 5 years ago. The nigga spent like $25 on them shits and just held them. And then that shit happened. And the nigga made crazy bread.
Yeah,
so it's like, there's some things that happen, but sometimes it's people who got that FOMO. It ain't really make the news. The FCC's not involved. I just got my 5 bands and I threw it in there. And then this shit happens. They kind of got to freeze it to keep people from still trying to jump in. And then they get jigsawed when the shit go back to normalcy.
When the bubble bust.
It's gonna go back. Like, it's just gonna go back to $2. It's a piece of shit stock. So for the people who's on Reddit and y'all like 1, 2, 3, go, yeah, get it. But for all the other people who like FOMO, like, oh, this shit is going crazy, I'm finna throw everything in there. And then they ask it, that motherfucker go back to reality and your whole shit got swiped. That's kind of like, nah, nigga, we gonna freeze the shit because we know you Generation Z niggas are not gonna listen. That's how y'all getting rich. Because everything that we saying, this is the thing, get you a hedge fund and get 5% return and don't do this. They like, man, fuck what you talking about. And everybody's getting rich because they going against the grain. They taking a risk. So if they would have just let it open and say, hey, this is what's going on, we advise you guys not to, they got a lawsuit on their hand. You know what I'm saying? Everybody want their money back. Y'all, we didn't know what we were doing. TD Ameritrade, like majority of the major platforms all did the same response. It was one, it's called Doe. I know, I won't say it's black owned, but one of, I don't know, original people's got a hand in it. One of the brother got a hand in it. And they came on and they did a thing where he was like, they explained it to the guys, to their customers, and then they just let them, if y'all want to keep doing it, they didn't freeze it, they let them. But they explained it very thoroughly, like what was going on, but they didn't want people to feel like they didn't have a choice
gassed up,
to do what they want to do. And people are going to say, yo, you can't. You know, that's the whole thing. If somebody saying
disclaimer.
you can't do something, it could be for your best interest, but people like, you can't be telling me what the hell I could do with my money, man.
Yeah, you got.
Now it's like, it's a different thing. Like we in Russia or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You can just too much control on your end to regulate what I'm doing. You feel me? So that's how that's really like, that's making them stink more than anything. You feel me? It's not the Reddit guys. It's like y'all controlling this shit anyways. Y'all manipulating it anyways. And y'all up billions and y'all mad because now we getting up and we eating. They don't want that generational divide in wealth to be bridged. They don't want that to happen. That's what, if you say, why is they salty? That's what it is. Niggas is making up for that. All them years of, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, they don't want that.
So do you see this becoming like a normal just for different stuff?
It'll never be the same again. Never. It'll never go back. They can't regulate it. What can they do?
Okay, and so you what kind of actions do you see them taking to try to limit the situation that just took place?
The same shit they've been doing, freezing stocks. Once they see them shits is happening, they be like, nah, give it 3 days. It's dead. You can't trade IBM. They squeezing it. Well, why are you shorting it? You know what I'm saying?
So what would be your response to that? What do you think people should do as far as overcoming them limiting you buying?
Like, nothing. Because the market is such a big market. You could trade futures, you could trade Forex, you could trade crypto, and there's so many companies between the S&P, NASDAQ, Russell. It's too many companies. Motherfuckers is just on that FOMO stuff. They don't really understand the nature of the market or trading, and they're seeing people hit these licks, and they just want to bandwagon that lick. And while they talking crazy about AMC and GME and GameStop, there's still 9,000 other shits that's either going up or going down. So, like, I never had my eye on none of that. You know, that's why I said, I haven't really been keeping abreast to this whole situation because it's the full market. Like, them is all garbage ass stocks. I don't follow GameStop.
Yeah, no.
I don't follow, like, you feel me? So it's a way to actually research good companies, follow those good companies, and you could just say, oh, I love LVMH. They make Louis Vuitton. They make Hennessy. Like, I fuck with that. And you can trade that and be good. You don't have to be, I did a research. You put an option in, you know when that shit gonna pop. You've been watching it, you know it. You good. That one play. Just eating. It's going up. It's going down. It's going up. You know what I'm saying? Every month you buy in, you buy in, you buy in. You exercise your compound interest. You feel me? It's just basically taking your bread and putting it somewhere. It's monopoly.
So what advice would you have for people that want to get into buying stocks?
Everybody should at least take 6 months out of their life and learn the market. Everybody. It's a skill. It's money. You feel me? And everybody should go get the audio book or the physical copy of Money Master the Game. Shit is a fucking game.
You said Money Master the Game. Who's the author?
Oh, man.
You know what? We can figure that out.
I got it on my audio book. It sucks that I don't know. It's right on the tip of my head, but I ain't eating and whatever. Tim Robbins, Money Master the Game. And that's what they were saying in the beginning of it. That was like all games.
Okay, Money Master, Tony Robbins.
Yeah, that's what I said, Tony Robbins.
Yeah.
Money Master the Game is like all games aren't inconsequential. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, all right, we gonna play this game, but motherfucker, your life on the line. Ha. Shit ain't funny. You better know how to win, nigga. Your life is on the line. You know what I'm saying? That's what kind of how this is, how they play it. It's just like a game. So he was saying the stock market is his money machine. You feel me? So the compound interest allows you to put the interest on top of your interest. So every year that interest just compounds. So like that's how you really get the generational wealth. So you take your 9 to 5 and you take 10% of that and you dedicate that to the market. If every 2 weeks, every month, whatever it is, let's say you got Tesla, Nvidia, and then you own like the S&P 500. You got 2 tech stocks, and then you own the market, which the market is going to yield a safe 10%. So you got money over here that's a safe 10%. That money's not going to get fluxed up. Tesla is volatile, but even though in its volatility, it's been going up. And what did I say? The other one, Nvidia is something. It's just a chip stock. They make video games, processors. Those are like a growth stock. You see that in the future going up. You see what I'm saying? But it's also volatility in those. So you got like Tesla would be your dangerous bet. This is your future bet. And then you got your safe bet. So those are your 3. That's all you need for your portfolios, those 3. Then you take your 10% and you dedicate that evenly through those on a dollar cost average by buying in every month. And you're going to hold those for 5 to 10 years. And then, let's say after 5 years, let's say you hit 100% return, you might want to evaluate and say, does this still have the growth potential that it did the first 5 years, the next 5 years? If it doesn't, and they said you might have president came in, you might want to rotate and say, all right, I want to put green energy. They just passed the weed shit. And then I'm going to go I'm gonna go S&P 500. Whereas maybe with Trump, I wanted to fuck with the Nasdaq because he's more tech, Facebook, Twitter. You feel me? Where Biden's more green energy. You know, that's more Dow industrial stocks. So you might move it based on that. But all you really need is 3, and then you don't have to be the chart expert to know when the perfect time to buy, because every month when you know you get paid, you just allocating 10% of that to that. You never touching it. You feel me? So you do that.
Do you have to necessarily know about the stock? Not like everything, but the product, what they sell.
I won't say you have to know, but for your own peace of mind, you probably know way more than you think because you consume. You know what I'm saying? So you know, like, nigga, it's pandemic. I'm gonna get Dollar General and Clorox. I'm gonna buy them shits and I'm gonna hold them for a year, 2. To that 10,000, it's gonna appreciate. You might get 25, you might get 50% on your return. Imagine saying I'm gonna put my 10,000 in the bank. You get 1.1%.
Yeah.
And the cost of appreciation and value of living goes up more than that. So you lost dollars putting your money there. So it's about where you can park your money and your money could work for you. And the market is the best place you could do that. The best place. You got some of these companies, like if you look at Tesla, you might not be so affluent in saying what it is because it's not a car company, it's a technology company. But you look at Tesla and say, damn, every year they're doing 25% in returns. Imagine you parking your 10 grand there for 5 years. And then you get to 25%, and then every year that compounds. You know what I'm saying? So it's an easy way to turn your 10 grand to 100,000 by just letting it chill right there. You don't have to get up every day and, baby, I'm working hard for this money. Yeah, bitch, I was so here eating jacuzzi in the jacuzzi. You know what I'm talking about? Nigga out here breaking his back.
Yeah. So okay. So what would you suggest somebody who doesn't want to use, you know, the I guess you call them the retail, like a Robin Hood, where like what would you suggest to start?
Dough.
How you spell it?
Dough, I believe, and it come up like bread. It's like a brown and a white one to look like toast. But you also got Stash.
Yeah, I used Stash for a while.
Acorn.
Acorns,
Stash would probably be the most user friendly because it allows you to get fractional shares. So if you can't afford the $822 Tesla, nigga, let me get $5 of that joint.
Yeah, Stash. Stash is the one that where you spend like $1 and like say you spend 75 cents and then 25% of that
That's
goes
Acorn, I believe.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I was
Round
Acorn.
up because I got them both. But yeah, Stash you could just do fractional. Let me get $5 worth of Tesla, and you can say every 2 weeks automatically take $5 and just put it to Tesla. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to do nothing. It's just like Acorns. You stashing them shits away. You look up 5 years, you be like, I forgot about that money. 10, 20, 30,000. Just chilling.
So you said instead of having the savings, put that into the
Savings give you maybe 1% that you yield a year. So you put your 10,000 in, you go back next year, it's $997. And the funny thing about it, when you touch it, they're trading your money in the market. They take maybe a small percent there just in case you be like, yo, let me get 100. They be like, here you go. They got your other 900 Forex, futures, options.
Yeah, my uncle used to work for the bank. He said for every $1 that you put in, they make about 8 on it.
They be going crazy on your money.
Yeah.
Then they charge you bank servicing fees, overdraft fees.
Oh, it would take 3 to 5 business days for us to get, because they over there messing with the money while it's,
They don't got that bread there. They don't got it. They trading. They know what to do with the money. And it's funny that, like, that's the greatest scam ever. That's even better than insurance. It's convincing you that you just smart enough to just go make it, but you not smart enough to keep it and manage it. You bring that shit over here. Because you know the niggas and the Mexicans and all the fucking people, boo, nigga, you're scared. You get that money and you bring it over here. Listen, you went to school, you got a master's, but you don't know what to do with that money. You get that shit and you drop it off.
I'm laughing, but it's true.
That's the biggest, like, yeah, you're right. I should drop it off. Direct deposit, it just go right to your shit. Yeah, you don't want it. You know, pay your bills and then give us the money. You need us. In fact, $25 to start the account, nigga. This to prove how much you need us. You gotta pay for this shit. This dick ain't free. Kendrick Lamar, you feel me? That's the greatest scam. That's the mafia. They just putting fear in your heart. and they pressing you for this bread. You don't even know why you're doing it. Yeah, I gotta get a bank account. Some dumb shit your mom said, that some dumb shit her mom said, or some shit her mother couldn't do. So it's like, oh, wait till I get it. I'm gonna have a bank account, put on the hat. That shit don't matter. Real kings, you're gonna have your money. And really, because paper ain't shit, nobody wants to carry 10 million in paper. It'll be molding, it'll be fucking worthless. That's how people really don't get it. I'll get a neighborhood.
Yeah,
I'm gonna do with
Yeah.
$1 million in paper. You stupid
true.
motherfucker.
That's true.
You sitting over here with 40 pounds of paper? Why not have gold, mineral, copper, zinc, iron, wood, hemp? No, nigga, give me this paper. And I'll kill a nigga if he try to take it. It's paper.
it's true,
They
bro.
fucking tricked your ass.
No, that's real. My buddy was telling me too. He's like, get a credit union. That's even better than a bank. You
It's
know?
still better, but it's the same thing, man. When you're talking about these hedge funds, it's just a smart nigga who can convince dumb niggas you should give me your money. That's all a hedge fund is. All these startups, they don't have no money.
Yeah, they're trying to get money.
You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it is that the collective group, they do practice group economics. So I could be, it's a company, NOK or something. They're supposed to be like a Tesla.
Oh, Nicola.
They've been on the market for mad long, and these niggas don't even have a car.
Right.
They done made
And
mad
then
pre-orders.
The CEO resigned or left.
He made a bag and left. It's like,
So these are the people that are creating these hedge funds.
no, this is just an example
Yeah.
of how the game works. If I
Yeah.
got $20 billion friends, I could come up with a piece of shit ideal. They put their money behind it. I offer them stocks. They eat. Everybody eats.
They sketched it. They drew it. They had a demonstration video of the truck. Like
The
it's
shit was
supposed to-
rolling downhill. It
Yeah.
wasn't even starting. It was going a slope.
Yeah.
But that stock pops. And
Yeah.
people buy it and niggas make money.
Wow.
But it's no different from knowing a corporation is a corporate entity. It only exists through paperwork. The only means it can travel is through legality. It has no arms and legs. It's all paper. It's all fake. They could convince you because, yeah, your nigga gonna say, where's the fucking shiny shit you said you make, nigga? We've been giving you this bread. So, I mean, they're getting it together and off of other people's money. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, we lied, nigga. We don't really make cookies yet. You keep sending this money, we gonna get the cookie machine. I'm gonna learn how to make these sprinkles. It's a propaganda machine behind it, but it's a beautiful thing when you have people doing it. Like, why the fuck not? Look, little Johnny, we know you special. We got the bread. You know what I'm talking about? Think of some shit. We gonna put all our money behind you. You're gonna give us these shares at mad low. When we convince the people this is the new fire, they're gonna, you know what I mean? Just off the IPO, the shit come in at 20. We bought them at 2. Made 80 million off of retarded ass Johnny. No, this nigga can't make this. Is not gonna work. But I got mine. He got his. The company might tank. You file a bankruptcy. The corporation is dead. But Johnny Turner, whatever, he's good. It's not him. So why does it matter? That's the best way to move around some money. You could even commit murders and bodies behind LLCs. You take Turner and corporation to court for somebody. Yeah. She died. It's unfortunate. I'm not liable. But yeah, that dude, it happened.
Damn. Man.
So it's just a game. We never had access to this information. You feel me? So that's why it's just like we're in the information age. There's no hiding what's going on. You know what I mean? A lot of these guys who I follow are 22, 24. I've been trading options since the pandemic. It's 4 months. I made $220,000 just in profit. Quit college, and then they're doing, all the things that they want to do because they're not even thinking about bread no more.
That's what I was saying. Those people get to that point. They trying to catch that money. They get that money, and they're like, all right, like that's it. I'm living. I'm good. What else can I do? What else can I conquer? They're not like the money is. It's our shit to worry about. You know what I mean? The comic people every day.
It's all really an illusion.
Yeah, I think that fear goes away, man, and then I think that's what it is. Once we get over that fear, then it just becomes about.
You got to get to my man, Reverend Ike Love. That's what you got to get to. Reverend Ike Love preached the good gospel. And that's just what it is. They created the money for a reason. It's paper. It has no energy. We put the energy behind it. They create bills and these things that make you stress out about having to pay something or having to lose something or having to have something. It's really not even. If you build yourself into an asset and you run around and you bless as many people as you can, you're gonna be rich. There's nothing to worry about. You feel me? And then if you get into sacred sciences and saying that we are people of God and religion, what do the book say? Because you know my upbringing. You know what I'm saying? I was brother man. Yeah, brother, being pie and all that. But as I started to get into all of it and get into the Bible was different. And originally that's what threw me off. It's crazy. Had somebody sit there and read it to me. I said, what is it? That nigga dies? It's pestilence and rape and murder. And if you believe in the God that's in the Bible, he's not no punk. Even when he talk about praying, he says for you to command him. Ain't never say, oh, Jesus, please send us some noodles. That God in the Bible was like, bitch ass nigga. The one I've been reading about, he telling you, command me. It's already yours. See, we got a weak mentality about everything that we do as people. Even when you go into the book, we're not even interpreting it the right way.
Well, one of the things that I see is a lot of people they expect they put 75% of the effort on God to do things in their life. And that's what I noticed is just when I just started getting out, and making stuff happen myself, things started manifesting. So it's like faith without works is dead. You know what I mean? You got to get out there. You got to grind on your end too. Yeah, the belief is there. The belief is what's going to get you to go out there and work. You know what I mean? Just having that mentality that I'm going to see something. I'm going to eat off for this, But I think it goes back to what you say. A little bit of fear kill a whole lot of faith. And that's what they good at is putting that fear into you to stop you, to immobilize you. And I've experienced that with people, in my personal life and family. And I realized that, okay, I mean, this person, how much is this, what this person is giving me is wisdom, and how much is this them rationalizing their personal failures in my life?
90-something% is the rationalization of personal failures.
So, no, that's a good thing that you touched on. And, like I said, I appreciate you coming down, man, and just breaking this stuff down for me, because you gave me a better understanding of just the whole dynamic and not being, immobilized by fear and not knowing. Like you said, the information's out there. Somebody told me, he says, okay, the game is rigged, but what I'm trying to teach you is how to make that rigging work in your favor.
I can't disagree with that. I just don't like the negative connotation put on anything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? It's never a negative connotation. It always is what it is. And once you start getting a little bit off the grid and get into certain things like the universal law, you know that a lot of this shit is nothing but fallacy. Even bad and good is equal. It's 2 different degrees. It's almost like hot water and cold water. We talking about water. Hot is one variant degree. Cold is the other variant degree.
Right.
So it's not, the hot is bad and now the cold is good.
Yeah. And
you know what I'm saying?
And that's what I talk about that too, like with certain vibes. It's certain vibes that I can't deal with on a regular basis. I don't necessarily say that they're negative or bad, because in a different atmosphere, they might be totally, you know what I mean, a necessity. We were talking about that earlier. But it's just certain vibes I can't have around me. Because
that's the laws of polarity.
Yeah, because it disturbs my energy.
What's cold is going to end up being hot, and what's hot is going to end up being cold. What's the motherfucking pendulum swing? Or you might even be getting your ass whooped in a place of weakness. But when that pendulum swing and you done? Like, nah, I'm just getting started. That shit, you thought you was in a position of power. I'm gonna tear your ass up.
Right.
It's just understanding these things and be like, really, when you know this shit, it's nothing to worry about. And that's the thing that they project on us. They don't teach us the truth. They don't give us knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. They don't give us universal laws. See, when we fail from our greatness, this is the concepts that made us great. So just think about that. If I conquered you, I'm going to hide from you what made you great. Now, I can let you run around and say, you free. And I got all your knowledge and a secret to you. Now it's mine. I can rebrand this shit, repurpose it, do whatever I want. But as long as I keep you from this information that you was dealing with when you was at the top, I don't really have anything to worry about.
Well, when you talk about the universal laws, that takes me to another place, because like back in the day when I used to fast, and I realized that anybody that fasts is gonna develop some sort of power from that. Like I'd fast, and when I would fast, I would notice that when people would come at me a certain way, I would see through that. It wasn't an emotional response like, oh, he's being an asshole. I could see that it was an affliction that person, and I seen it on a deeper level. But fast forward that, like I said, I come from a Christian background. But if the atheist or the demon or the devil worshiper want to do that too, he's gonna get some power from it too, because it's a universal law. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
See, that goes back to what the universal law is, because the God and the devil is the same. The Christian and the atheist is the same. There would be no Christian without no atheist. So if I was sitting here as a Christ, right? How does God grow? He would have to have a dual opposite, a negative experience. If all I've been is godly, in order to grow, I would have to transpose myself in a negative light and live out those experiences and understand those experiences to further understand me as God. I can't just be like,
balance.
Happy birthday, Merry Christmas.
Right.
This is 100 years later. You get a new car. God ain't growing. He's not expanding.
You gotta go through a challenge.
Yeah.
It has to happen. So there's no darkness in the scriptures. Out of the darkness comes the light.
Yeah, the balance. And
So it can't be no. That's the branding. Oh, Christian, atheist. It's all sacred science. What's the secret behind the secret then? Because you got the secret code, so niggas can say, "Oh, we found it," and now you ain't looking no more.
Yeah.
So that's
and that's the thing too. Like I say, when I first started, when I first called myself getting religious, I was a little I had a box. I kind of treated certain kind of groups a certain way, and I'm staying away from them because. And then after a while, I was like, you know what? What's the power dynamic in each one of these groups? What's propelling each one of these? So then I started like becoming more open and just like, let me study with these people. You know what I mean? Like, let's go into this situation. But also too, was it having a strong enough mind and realize that I can go into this and I don't have to necessarily absorb the ways of the people, but I can understand them. I can see their mentality.
You can walk down the Blood Hood and go get you some cigarellos and still be a Crip. You don't come back a Crip like, yo, son, I hit that cigarello, cuz.
And balance too. You know what I mean? I just try to look at everybody. Like I say, I've said this before. You look at the gays. What is their dynamic? They got the money. They ain't got a bunch of kids they got to pay for. They taking their money and they put it towards certain things. They putting it together. They have that group money dynamic. You look at them, a lot of the Muslims, they got their women covered. They're not looking at ass and titties every time they got to go to work. They can focus on their, so I'm looking at
purpose,
I'm looking at each of these little dynamics that each person brings to it. And then that's made me more, I think that's just helped me grow and realize that I don't know it all. And let me take the best out of each one of these groups and apply it to myself. And then
and the flip side of that, that's just lovely. And it sounds great. But in reality, that's like some demonic shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you flip that on his head, it's basically just stripping all the humanity out of it. That's why I'm hearing it. It's saying like, oh, okay, I'm Muslim. That's your humanity cloth. You front, oh, I'm Muslim. I'm clean, brother. You shit, you puke.
Right.
You nasty fucking human. Yeah. Just like everybody else. So what you saying is like, let me strip the humanity and find, you know what I mean? The what makes all of these things exist. And I think that's what allows the religion to actually exist. It's because it's clothed with this humanity thing. And it makes you feel like, well,
you got an identity.
I'm Catholic.
Yeah.
You still taking shits though, my nigga. You nasty.
Yeah.
You're not, I'm better than the Jew. We all out here on this human shit.
Right.
Or we not. So is you either going to subscribe to humanity and you're going to venerate humanity, or you not. And I feel like the most religiositous people use that to entice the humanity in you so they can be on their demonic swag. And that's why I said it's kind of demonistic. Like, yes, pray to God while you praying. They like, we're going to rape your wife.
Yeah, no, you know what?
You know what I'm saying?
And here's something I always said about that was that the deed is only as good. No, the intent. The deed is only as good as the intention behind it. So like I could tell you like, yo man, you need some new kicks. You know what I'm saying? Here's $100. Go get them new J's that just came out. Oh, for real. But I'm gonna hang out here if that's cool with you. All right, cool. Dude goes to the mall, but while you going to get them kicks, I'm over here sleeping with your wife. Mm-hmm. So now it's like, the deed is only as good as the intent. The intention was like, what was better, the $100 he gave me, or the fact that he was using that to sleep with my wife?
I don't know. Depends on how good them sneakers was or how bad the pair he had. His wife wasn't getting them no sneakers. He might be like, yo, you coming over again?
Yeah.
I need some more sneakers. He feel like it's some pussy left. You didn't take the pussy with you. She washed it. You know what I'm saying? But I understand what you're saying, but some people also say the road to hell is paved with good intentions. What I'm on now, to be honest, is really just really asking the question is, are we really here to be good humans? I feel like that's the ultimate trick that somebody sold the majority of our people as melanated original beings. And I feel like if you look at the history, if people want to say, yo, what happened? That was it. Either we was never humans and we was sold humanistic abilities, or we was humans and certain individuals we dealing with don't have that humanity quality. Because if you look at it, if we just start acting stupid towards everybody else instead of ourselves, it would be a different party.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like that humanity is like, I don't know. Everywhere I go, I see quote unquote black people kind of like dusting white people off. Even if we're getting killed, there's always a brother that's like, yo, it's gonna be okay. There's always somebody that's preaching some inspirational speech of overcoming and it being okay. These are all cries and all beliefs in humanity. But we getting killed. So we can't continue to deal with humanity.
Yeah, well, you know what? And here's the thing.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I always, like I say, I think it comes back to balance.
Do you think we here though to be good humans? Do you think that's the purpose?
Now I'm leaning towards the whole balance. You know what I mean? You gotta strive for balance, because I started thinking about this the other day. You got all the good people, but like that's why I don't necessarily, like I say, my dad, he's got like a warrior mentality. He's kind of a dick sometimes, but also too, I understand like when something happens, you gonna want them guys. Like religions overlook the killers and the people that do the dirt to keep you know what I mean? Like,
what you mean overlook?
Like,
niggas is highlighted.
Yeah. Okay.
All the
yeah.
prophets.
Well, so okay.
Moses started off chop a nigga head off before he made it even to prophethood. He was killing a nigga.
So what I'm saying is like, you need both of those sides to exist, because if you're doing good all the time and you going guard. Okay, what is considered moral? I know it varies from group to group, but let's just say one group.
You mean humanity versus non-humanity?
Correct.
So good would be some humanistic shit like a nigga plant a tree.
Yeah, instead of killing people. Yeah, exactly. Growing instead of destroying.
Something that's gonna be here to move along the stick in the human experience for the current humans and the next humans.
Right. Pretty much building with other humans. But there's always going to be somebody that's going to be wanting to destroy that too. So I feel like at the same time, we need both of those sides. Like, there's a balance there, because you're going to need to protect that shit that you done built too.
Why? If you're going to die, what's the purpose of protecting if you're just going to die?
Well, I mean, you got you got generations just coming after that. Like, we don't know how long this thing is gonna last. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got kids. So I think the overall goal is try to make things better for the people that's gonna come after you. I think that's generally what everybody.
So you saying that we're here to be good humans?
To a certain degree, yes.
What degree is it not though? If you're saying obviously, good and bad is a
relatives.
Exactly. I punch a nigga in the face. Like you said, what was the intent? So we would take good and bad take that out the thing. It's either like, because that's what I feel like we've been sold. Come here, be a good human. Go to hell, then you die, then you get your prize. So me, I'm like,
fuck that.
Not even that, but it's really questioning, is that the goal? To just be a good human? And then when I look at the ancestors, I don't see no signs of that. Like when you go in the temples, you know what I mean? Those like whatever the oldest, because you got Mexico, you feel me? You got Brazil, you got Africa, and then if you even look at them shits, they line up, and certain shit is based off of where you're at. So they're just lining shit up with the cosmos more than anything. But I don't see no economic plans on none of those temples to say, yo, nigga, how you gonna get money for the next generation?
Right.
There's really not no concern with this humanistic experience where you see these advanced cities with luxury that make people so comfortable being here.
Well, and that's the thing too. What they say, build your. I've heard somebody say, build your. Pitch your tent, build your altar. Like, in other words, life is always going to be a situation where you're going to be in a journey. You're not supposed to be comfortable. You're supposed to be always trying to elevate. So I think, to a certain degree, I think you just got to take what you were given and expound on that. Whatever you got, I mean, it's a difficult thing because goodness is really relative. And I think what people are trying to do is make their version of good apply to everybody.
But what there can't
there
can't be a universal good.
But I think that's what the
it
fight.
Can't.
I think that's what the struggle is, though. Is everybody trying to impose their version of good on everybody else?
Like a teacher telling a student, "Hey, you can't do that."
That's reality, though.
Yeah.
That's the reality. I can't exist unless I make you fucking validate me, bro.
Yeah, well, I mean, ultimately,
you know what I'm saying?
Ultimately, too, what I've been noticing, like what I've been experiencing in the last few years is that energy is what matters. Everybody's trying to take each other's energy, and I notice your focus, that's the true currency, because whatever you kind of focus and apply yourself to, that's what you're gonna expound on. Mm-hmm. And I think ultimately is that energy, whatever. I mean, even the strippers, I mean not a stripper like a porn star, they get energy because they got people focusing on them.
So that goes back to the question of what's good and bad then. It can't exist then. If it goes back down to energy,
well, I mean,
what's good and bad?
It's relative.
It's like a nigga saying bad energy. Like if I put a wet plug into the socket and it shocks me, it's like, yo, that fucking bad socket. It's just energy, nigga.
Right.
There's no good and bad of it. If you don't handle it right, you're gonna have it. Your experience is gonna be different. But I don't think there's not a defined level where you could say good and bad. And even like to your example of a stripper, and people would say she was bad because she's mastered the currency exchange.
Yeah,
that's the only reason why she's bad.
And like
she's a human. She has titties. She has ass, and she's using her natural skills and ability to control you. And it's only because of the powers that be are like very insecure individuals that they know that that's too much power, so it has to be suppressed. So in a societal means, you would make that the bad. That would become the evil. So that would be the devil.
So I think that's probably really what the struggle is. It's just everybody trying to impose their version of good on everybody else. So I think that's what the ultimate struggle is. Because I've been there too. I'm on this side, that side. But then I started getting into like, okay, it's the energy, and all I can do is multiply my energy with people that have the same energy as me, and that's my version of good.
But what if she's a stripper?
I mean, we can vibe on certain frequencies. You know what I mean? Like
but you might moralize her.
You know what I mean?
You moralize her because she a stripper. We talk about energy.
I mean,
she's not coming through with strip energy.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's kind of fucked up. Like if she was here, we was talking, we had this whole bill, right? Then we got to this point. She was like, "Wait a minute, nigga, I'm a stripper." Like you would feel kind of fucked up because now you done judged her because she.
Yeah. I mean, but if we went to go watch like a football game together, we like the same team. That's one frequency. If we was making money together, like I was on some pimp shit, then that's another frequency. You see what I'm saying? So our energies can line up on different frequencies. So if it was a financial thing, then we'd be able to connect. We might not be able to connect on a religious level, which would probably be a different frequency. You get what I'm saying? So
yeah. I understand like being able to see the levels of somebody and figuring out where you connect with them at.
Right.
So I'm not saying that you would connect with her on a stripper, as long as what you're not saying is I'm going to cut off all connections with her because she is a stripper.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Like I'm like, yo, you going to judge the bitch because that's one of her jobs? Like, that's not who she
but
is.
I've been there before. But it's like now I'm like,
It's growth.
I'm always trying to figure out what frequency I can line up with somebody on. I'm instead of figuring out what that one thing is that separates us, I'm trying to find that one thing that connects us. You know what I mean? So I'm like, okay, where do you go to school? All right, where you go to church? Oh, how you make? Okay, you know what? Oh, you interested in this too? Okay, that's. So
It's more of a commonality then. You say you're trying to find the commonalities because frequencies may be a little bit different from my understanding, but that's like commonality, and that's a good human experience, something I suck at. I'm such a detached human from being in jail, being in prison, not having social experiences. If somebody and just being like a hood niggas is just like, yo, you don't got a do-rag on, son. Fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're not even looking for a commonality. You like, I'm looking for differences.
But you know what
I'm saying? So, but as far as frequencies, it's sometimes it's like that. Like that's fucked me up. Like I had to get past that. I'll picture a female and it'll be like, I'll feel something, but I'll be like, oh, she's ugly. Or she's fat.
Yeah.
Or
yeah.
she's
I've seen ugly girls.
That's the frequency, but you cutting it off because you're human shit. Like
yeah.
fucking with that fat girl. That's how you've been trained. Even with like, hey, she got a head wrap on. I ain't fucking with that Muslim. Fucking, being pie, bitch. Or whatever it be. That's just your human training. That's not even a frequency vibe because you would actually have to have that experience to see what kind of vibe she's on.
Right.
You didn't already cut yourself off from that based off of your humanistic shit.
Right, exactly.
And that's the shit. That's why I say, like, for me, I've been through Islam. My mother and her family are Pentecostal Southern Christians. And then just having, Tito, Thomas, Bo, and then going to the pen and kind of just being like, yo, I never really understood Catholicism and trying to get into that world and actually breaking down like all the different variants of the religion shit. And it's just like, now I'm to the point where I'm just trying to kill all that shit off and get rid of that humanity. That's the shit that I feel like holds people back more than anything is trying to be a fucking good human. Because we learn that shit from human has been commercialized.
Right. Well, you know what?
You know what I'm saying?
And it's a kind of thing too. And I look at that with a lot of evangelical Christians. They use that piety. It's good. It's good to look like you're what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? When you giving, when you're
generous.
When you're generous.
What's
and
Philanthropist.
Yeah, you're a philanthropist. It's easy to be a philanthropist when you got everything. But let's see how situations get whenever you lack. You know what I'm saying? Like there's different situations. I tell people this all the time. You can't change a person by words. Circumstances could only change you. Because when your opinion might switch when your situation change. You know what I mean?
Hell yeah.
So anybody is capable of being that drug addict breaking into somebody's house or that a girl selling her body for drugs under the wrong circumstances. I think what
I get what you're saying, though, yeah.
What wisdom teaches you is how to avoid them circumstances. So the older I get, the more I'm like, all right, what happened when you were in that relationship that didn't end well? What did you do? Like, what was it built on? Well, it was built on drinking and doing this. Okay, so are you gonna, stop drinking with females now or like not? So I would have to take things back. And when I came down to it, it's like, I don't need to be drinking. That might be good for some folks, but it's just the circumstances that it creates for me are never to my advantage. So that was one of the things I had to stop doing. And now I eliminated a lot of variables like, I'm not going to get a DUI. That's something that I don't even got to worry about. That's a negative situation that I don't even got to worry about because I've eliminated a lot of those negative circumstances.
That's deep right there. And you touched on a lot of good things. Like, and that's what I was going to point of. I don't really like religion. And I was blessed to deal with knowledge, wisdom, understanding, or knowledge, wisdom, and common sense. Even the word religion means to relegate, and it means to put you in a box. You can't have a collective consciousness on a universal level when you're being relegated. There's no way for you to actually connect because one thing that I did fuck with Islam about, Islam is a little bit honest. They can't lie and say, yo, we the shit. They like, no. First, they gotta tell you. It was the Old Testament, then came the Bible, and we were an extension. So they tell you right there, like, my nigga, you can read this Bible, but you Quran, but you got to go back. You got to go back, and you got to incorporate all three of them to get a collective understanding.
Right.
So then, when I look at the commercialization of it, it seemed like they in war, but that's just like what niggas say. Water always rise to its own level. So if you put dirt and water in a cup, they're gonna not naturally separate. And so what won't normally happen when you bring that concept, you have a person saying, well, nigga, is you dirt or is I'm water? You trying to say you better than me? Nigga ask me that, I say, no, my nigga, I'm not dirt or water. I'm the nigga holding the bottle. Niggas ain't thought about that one. They like, oh, fuck. Who is you? Nigga, who is you? So that's the thing when you talk about religion, they create that bottle. And you got Christians, you got Muslims, but you don't know the niggas holding the bottle. They know all that shit connect.
Right.
So it's really no beef between all of that. That's just humanistic bullshit to keep you relegated from actually tapping in to your powers. You got to think niggas only use what, 4 or 5% of their brain. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of that has to do with religion.
Well, you know
the
what?
whole world is being relegated to a point where they cannot tap into a higher consciousness. Even in Islam, they tell you don't do astrology and don't look to the stars. But Islam started for Sufism. And that's all the Sufis did, right? Poems and, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Like I think like a lot of the
Rumi.
A lot of times they don't want you to get into the, do your own studies and stuff like that and figure out stuff because it's a power dynamic.
Controlling that bottle.
Yeah, it's a power dynamic.
I don't want you controlling the bottle.
But no, that's what, like I say, one of the things that I do take from Muslims is I like the dignity that, that black men get out of it. You know what I mean? I see that and I'm like, yo, that brother's dignified. He cares about himself. You know what I mean? And a lot of people can draw from that. So I just try to figure out what the power dynamic is. What is the power dynamic in this situation? What can I obtain from this situation and apply to myself? You know what I mean? And I mean, it takes a lot of, humility, number one, realizing like you don't know everything and just being open. But I think in the black community, just even complimenting somebody is seen as a weakness. Oh, yeah. And I had this conversation with my mom the other day. I'm like, positive reinforcement is like, why you over there kissing ass? Like, nah, bro. The dude did something that I was impressed by, and I wanted him to feel the energy that he done gave me, you know what I mean, in the process. So I wanted to reciprocate that energy. I did something the other day. I did a photo shoot on Instagram. My man immediately called me up, was like, yo, there's my boy, Mr. 750. He was like, yo, that was fire. And I was like, all right. So, you know what I'm saying? He took the energy, he brought it back. Because now he realizing I can go out there and do my own photo shoot. You know what I mean? So just, just passing back and forth the energy, not being able to afraid to you know what I mean, and be a student of something. You know what I mean?
I think that actually exists in the community. And so the thing that I always, and it's not to disagree, it's just to add a little color, because what you said is 100% true. What I always ask, though, is when you talk about the community, there's not a lot of eldership, statesmanship, and learnership in our community. You don't really technically, like, you might see it in some clips in New York, some people on the corner shouting information, but you start moving southwest, you don't see that shit. So where are these black people, niggas, whatever you want to call them, learning their behavior from? You know what I'm saying? So when we're saying this is how niggas is, and Muslims, and I take this from them, and Christians, I take that from them, that's part of the schisms and the isms that takes you away from who the fuck you and we actually really are. I can't look at you and say, okay, there goes my light-skinned Christian brother with a Puerto Rican mustache. What the fuck is that? As a human, that's my man's. Right. Period. What is all this? What does that shit even come from?
Yeah, you talking about subgenres, and that's what they use against each other is subgenres. Well,
that's what they use against us, even when we talk. Oh, I take this from the Muslims. Nigga, you is the Muslims. You is the Christians. You all of them shits. There is no you taken from the Muslims. That's the shit that they incorporated and got you thinking. That's why I say it's imperative that people do the history. You got to know etymology. You got to know science. You got to know the history of the planet. In order to know religion, you can't say I practice religion and you don't know history. So and you don't know geography. So people say Bethlehem, Where the fuck is that at?
So when I break things down, I break them down for a human understanding. You know what I mean? What's just understood around the board? Like, for instance, I got the hustle memory, right? I got it in pink. I know that brain matter is gray, But if I threw that great brain out there first, most people are not gonna understand that. So sometimes I gotta break things down into a way that humans can understand.
Hell
A
yeah.
majority. I might say African American. Now people might disagree with that, but I'm just referring to us what they've referred to, what we have an understanding of so far.
It's a historical reference too.
You're right.
If you said colored, that would be a marker. If you said mulatto, that would be a marker. So
Right.
yeah, it's a historical reference.
So a lot of the words are just they're there for reference. They're not
Hell
there.
yeah.
I'm not declaring.
Yeah,
you
not
know what I'm
necessarily even what you believe and stand for.
Right, exactly. So you put stuff out there to, just like when I explain something, these are okay, like law. I'm gonna use this for an example. They have to, this word is gonna be used to mean this. So whenever we okay, what's the word they use? They'll take a word.
You said in law?
Yeah, and criminal. Criminal in this sense, it means someone
yeah.
who breaks the law, yada yada yada. So when we say criminal, this is who we're referring to. But you gotta have a reference for everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So whenever I say certain things, I say it for a reference. Like, okay, I'm not agreeing or disagreeing that this is true, but this is what's understood at this moment. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Next week we might have a better understanding, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Because we've made progress.
Right.
So I always try to have that mentality that, okay, you know what? This is how we understand things today. Next week we might have another understanding. That's not saying that it's contrary. It's just saying that we develop more information about the situation.
Yeah, that's the build. It's always an information share. So it's like if you come through and you giving them milk because it's easily digestible, I'm gonna come through and just pour some cocoa on it. So it's not, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's always a build. It's always an add-on. It's never a
expounding off of ideas.
Yeah,
you know
especially
what I'm saying?
if I'm hearing you attack it from the micro, I'm gonna hit it with the macro. So now that balance is filled in. Everybody got to eat, and it's like information is old. Information isn't new. It's just the light and the dark shit. It's different levels of understanding and consciousness. I might not know something going on in the back. It doesn't distract from the fact that it's going on. You feel what I'm saying? So the information is old as hell. There's a lot of people who I believe have the information as much as there's a lot of people who don't. You feel what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So it's just like it's the same thing in reverse. And they're both necessary to form that balance. But there's not a uniformity when it comes to black people. There's too many subdivisions to make a blanket statement to say niggas no. Well, which niggas out of the niggas is you talking about?
Right.
Because I remember there was times where it was Deep South, Ku Klux Klan. It was it was bad for niggas, but there was like 10 billionaire black guys who came in the heart of this Ku Klux Klan. All the niggas was dying. Like, how the fuck did he become a billionaire?
Right.
So there's always things going on. It's just what you pay attention to. Right. And that's why I always come through with the big light on. Like, niggas, roaches in here. Fuck that. You know what I'm saying? I come through with the big light so everybody could see, like, yes, y'all have to understand that, blacks, and we're not gonna really go into, Yakub, and then the brother, we Asiatics. Like, everybody doesn't need to, it's gonna blow people's mind to know that. But at the same time, it's the understanding and saying very simply, through the history, through the knowledge, be studied more and spoken less, and understand you may be on your 100th lifetime here. So right now you might be black, but before you might have been a Moor. You might have been a Spanish black conquistador.
Yeah, knowing that you don't know.
So it's never a situation where you could just come and say, well, I'm Tony from Detroit. Mm-hmm. Like, no, you also from Colombia. You also the statues in Mexico. You're everywhere. You're everybody. So, you know what I'm saying? It's just like when you buy into subtitles and brands, then you condense yourself
into a
down
box.
With the relegation shit again.
Yeah.
You can't even collect consciously with everybody else. Like, imagine, people don't even understand this is how root systems work with a tree. Like, a tree in Arizona that's a live native tree with that root system could probably communicate with a tree in South Carolina.
Right.
Could smell that air. Just connect. We supposed to be able to do that too.
Well, brains operate the same way too.
That's what I'm telling you. But if I'm saying, hey, over there, he's an orange, light-skinned Puerto Rican in a red car, I can't fuck with him because I'm a black
Yeah.
You can't connect with.
Yeah, because
know what I'm saying?
you're not even allowing yourself to grow as a human. You know what I mean? I always say
I think
that.
the problem is trying to grow as a human.
Well, I think
It
comfort.
makes you
I
uncomfortable.
always say
It makes
Exactly.
you
yeah.
uncomfortable.
I think
You move so like a tree. You want to
Yeah.
just sit. Niggas want to just
Nah.
chill and
Yeah.
comfort is
you gotta
enemy.
go to work.
Yeah, comfort is enemy of progress, and I like to use the word contento, but I like to use it in the like I'm with the tent. Like I'm not in the house, I'm with a tent because when the nights fall, I'm gonna pitch this tent, but tomorrow I'm gonna keep going up this hill. You know what I mean? So I'm not.
But why? But why though? You know what I'm
It's
saying?
it's about progress, man.
But what's progress when you didn't make the rules and you was put into
It's
an exception? It's like these niggas is saying I gotta get a poodle in a fucking sombrero. What if I don't want to? Like it's not fair to say, yo, nigga, where your poodle at?
No, but
you ain't making progress.
It's like success. It's relative to each person. So my personal progress is being able to be in a situation to where I can provide opportunities for people I care about. You know what I mean? Just by I can't do you no good. And I'm using the word good for what we understand. My good.
Benefit.
Exactly. If I can't help you if I what did CeeLo used to say? I can't help you if I don't
Can't help you if I can't help me.
No wait. I can't help you if it's gonna hurt me.
Oh yeah,
that's what he used to say.
Slick talking nigga. Shout out Loco, man.
So
that nigga ain't never did a favor. That was his line. Nigga, you ain't never did a favor. Yo, it gonna hurt.
Yeah. So, but at the same time, like I've noticed in the last couple years, I've kind of projected myself to the forefront of my family as far as resources go, and I like that feeling. I like being in a position of where if somebody's relying on me, I'm there for them. I could, like my nephew locked up, and he always be like, "Hey, shoot me something. What up, Unc? Shoot me something on my Cash App," and I'm like, "Hey, man, here's a link, bro. You can get on there and make the money too." You know what I'm saying? Like, I can give you a job. I can give you a fish, but I can teach you I'd rather teach you how to fish. So being able to provide opportunities, being able to provide, knowledge, wisdom, just help other people. This my version of good, by the way.
Hell yeah, I was just about to applaud you for being one of the greatest humans, nigga. Keep on. Because my rebuttal to that is fuck them niggas. I'm not giving you nothing. I hope you struggle and bump your head and then you elevate.
No, genuinely, whenever I find a situation like, there's a lot of resources you have right now that you probably ain't even using to the fullest extent. But there's somebody that you got a book on your shelf right now that'll change somebody's life.
That's a fact.
And it's got dust on it.
I think I'm a book that'll change somebody's life, and I got a little dust on me too.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's good. That's your version of good. You know your value. You know what I'm saying? I like to show people the value in themselves because I feel like that's a form of currency. Like it's an investment. I'm gonna invest in you because ultimately, when I show you who you really are, there's gonna be creative value in you and the information that I gave you, and also I'm gonna create value in myself.
Hell yeah.
So I think people don't think about that when they think about investments. So turning back to the whole stocks and stuff like that. It's been situations where I was like, I got this book, you know what I mean? I don't even use this, but it's a topic that somebody's studying already. And they like, this is gonna be my major or whatever if they're in college. I turn around and hand them that book and now they elevate. And now they be like, oh, this was the nigga that gave me that book that helped me get to the next level. So I feel like that was a good investment because I increased in value, the book increased in value, and also the person that received the book increased in value. So
that's called appreciation, by the way.
You got better.
That's called appreciation. When you go in, when you value increases through time, that's appreciation. And it's ironic you say that about people and being investments when quote unquote niggas was the first thing ever traded on the stock market. It was actually Negroes.
damn.
So that's funny that you actually mentioned that. But like when I say fuck niggas, it isn't a literal thing, but I'm just not into humanity right now. You know what I mean? I've always had bread. You know me, back when we was shitty, you know what I mean? Shit kicking. I was always fly. I was always away. I always was resourceful and had resources. I never been a stingy guy.
No,
I've always
absolutely.
been a shirt off my back guy. But even with that, it's like
I see you finding balance. I see you finding balance a lot more. I can say that you've been, what's the word I'm looking for? More selfless this go around.
Yeah, I think in certain aspects, like, and it's not me being on my own dick saying that I have so much to give, but I've always been cognizant of the fact that money really not shit, and I want to do what I want to do with my fucking bread. However, I will take the time and talk to you. I will take the time and fight with you. I will take the time to help explore certain things that are in you. And I also know how people perceive me in a certain way. So even like dealing with Jeremy and dealing with all them niggas never had no business fucking with a nigga like me. They would have always seen me and been like, yo, who is son? I want to fuck with him. And that's the way niggas is. Like, we will never know that, but that's how niggas is. They want to fuck with certain things and they won't tell you. Because I remember Jeremy fronted like he was from Hempstead for long just to make my company.
Yeah, I recall them saying, yeah, something. I was like, I thought that was from New York for a while. Because
I did too. He was on his Hempstead. But anyhow, like, that's just the point I'm trying to make. Like, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, knowing yourself. Like, that was my investment. Was fucking with them niggas. I know that them niggas ain't had no business around the guard like that.
Yeah, for y'all that don't know, me and Fede got some history. We got like 20 plus years.
It's a lifetime.
Yeah. We've known each other in many different forms and lifetimes. I mean, from being, quote unquote drug addicts.
Ain't no quote unquote drug addicts. Nigga was a professional dope head and a professional dope dealer. The funny part is I don't know if I was selling more dope or smoking more dope.
Right. So we didn't been in a lot of ethereal. We done been in a lot of planes. Let's say that we've been in a lot of different planes, mentally, spiritual, and just to be able to sit down and have these cognitive conversations and the fact that we even still have most of our mind.
That's what I was about to say. To be able to really have the mental facilities left to recall your brother when he was a part of the Walking Dead, to be able to be a little bit woke and then see your brother walking around woke.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's literally like two different lifetimes. Like, so that's why I say that darkness into the light shit is where it's at. Because even you one who really got me into the dark path when you was telling me how it was like once you understood that darkness, it wasn't running from it. That's what niggas was doing. I gotta put it down. Like, no, nigga, you need to understand this shit because those egos was typically created through trauma and repetition. They're not gonna go nowhere. It's just like you were saying. You might have to pull one of them niggas out like an Excalibur and bring the old Shane out and cut a nigga head off so the new Shane could live. But if you just throw the baby out with the bathwater, now you getting ran on like a sucker.
Well, I understand the cycle of addiction, and I think that was a big thing is too. Like, I used to mess with the kratom for a while, and the one thing was like, nah, I'm not finna do this when I'm feeling some type of way emotionally. Like, I had a bad day, I'm gonna take some kratom. You know what I mean? I understand.
What the fuck is kratom?
Kratom is like it's a herb that is closely related. I think. What's the word I'm looking for? The elements in it. I know I'm butchering this, but it's almost close to an opioid.
Okay.
But it's like one or two derivatives, like LSD, LSA. You know what I mean? Type of deal. So it reacts. It's strong and it reacts kind of like an opioid, and people use it to get off like heroin and stuff.
Oh, okay. So it cuts the edge off.
Yeah. So I had an experience with that at one time where I was like, you know what? But I understood because I had quit doing everything. I understood the cycle of addiction. So I understood that if you had a bad day at work, I'm going to go take some kratom when I get home. I understand that if I was walking around 12 hours a day and my body was aching, then that might be a time to take it. And then also, too, I would only allow myself to dose like once a week. You know what I mean? So I understood, like, that's not a crutch. That's something that you use to get through a certain situation, but you're not gonna fall back on it. Sometimes you gotta decide, like, I'm gonna just deal with this pain. So I could have easily got addicted to it, but since I understood the cycle of addiction, I'm like, this is temporary.
Exactly.
Like, when we was doing drugs back in the day, we wasn't telling ourselves, I'm only gonna do this for this time. We just thought that was a lifestyle and we was gonna live for So
I never thought about being past 20. Like, I was telling somebody, I'm like, yo, I'm in my 30s, nigga. I never thought about this shit.
Right.
I swear to God.
So
I swear I didn't think I was gonna be here.
So I think too, like, for me, I feel like smoking weed, there was a time for that. Like, when I was a kid, grew up on prescription medications and stuff like that. So when I look back, I realized that I used weed instead of using them serotonin boosting. You know what I mean? If I would have kept using those Wellbutrins and Prozacs, I probably would have still been on them to this day. You know what I mean? Because once your serotonin levels get boosted so high, you can't live without them, or else I'll probably be suicidal. Would have probably killed myself a long time ago.
Yeah,
but
the imbalance of nigga can't even be normal. You need to be extra something.
Yeah, so I, weed had a good purpose in my life because when I was even 13, I was like, I don't want to be on these fucking pills. So I would smoke weed, and everybody was telling me, nah, put the weed down, mess with the pill. I'm like, even then,
it just didn't make sense.
It didn't make sense. Like you know what I mean?
Like,
so
I'm a whole nother nigga on these pills. Nigga like,
yeah, exactly. So anyway, I knew that was good for a certain time in my life. Now I'm on the level now where I feel like I could give that up. You know what I mean? So I mean, to each his own. Like I say, I'm not trying to diss nobody, but I feel like that was good for a certain era of my life. Towards the end, I started having anxiety when I would smoke. So that was kind of like telling me that, you're already where you need to be at mentally or emotionally. You don't need this.
Outlive that ego.
Exactly. So now, but one of the things that I realized is that when I start just dealing with life in a sober mind is just I'm not content with, you know what I mean, the things that I do. When I can go and drink that beer at the end of my work, or I got 2 days to take off and you know what I mean? Like that's how they got people. Oh, you work 5 days and then you got 2 days to do whatever you want, and then you can have your drinks and then come back and work for us. I feel like I don't have that little small vacation, so I'm always trying to figure out a way out. You know what I mean? So I think that always is what keeps me hungry is, yeah, nigga, you got that mental vacation you could take when you drink that 12-pack on the Friday. I don't got that shit. I'm always constantly thinking of an escape. Well, it's like when we just smoked the Sherm or whatever. One of the things that they said was, when you smoke PCP, your electrical pulses in your mind are constant. You know what I'm saying? Versus like having periodical electrical pulses as being a regular. So even that experience taught me something. I was seeing stuff that I wouldn't have probably picked up and just
fucking way.
You know what I mean?
Nigga, that shit I seen a lot too, nigga.
So I think if you go through those experiences and you make it out, you get the reward of knowing. Of being cognitive of what's going on in this world, but also knowing what's on the other side.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? But also being able to operate in the here and now.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it gives you. That's why I said any nigga who ain't never did drugs, I don't trust them niggas. I cut off a couple family members. Nigga, you ain't smoking weed. What you doing? Raping poodles,
holier
nigga?
than thou.
Not even that. They demons got to be that. It's much greater. You can't walk out with a beer. And you can't smoke a cigarette, nigga. You ain't passing gas.
What?
You in the dark doing something crazy.
No, that's one of the things the church taught me was that
I don't give. You a human.
Yeah, well, that's one of the things the church taught me. Once I got rid of like the quote unquote, I don't drink no more, I don't smoke no more, and I got around people that had bitterness and unforgiveness and the dark shit, I just realized like, damn, those sins that I was in are quote unquote
ain't even close.
Was quote unquote like that was the these motherfuckers got some other dark shit going on there. Like I can't, you know what I'm saying? Like
20-30 years of repression.
Yeah, bitterness.
That comes from repression.
Yeah, so
you wanted to act out.
Right.
In church like the rest of the kids.
Right. So I mean even doing this podcast right now is like an outlet to me. This is, you know what I mean? This is my version of somebody else shooting up heroin because I'm able to get these feelings out. You know what I'm saying? It's like that you say that repressed stuff. Yep. Just sitting here having these conversations, talking about this stuff and figuring out how the pieces fit together as well too. This is therapy. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
There's a rapper, his name is Seven, and a lot of Christian. He's a quote unquote Christian rapper, but he does like gangster music too. And he does. And people are like, well, I don't know. He's kind of all. I'm like, I like him because you get to see all of them. You get to see both. You get to see them days where he ain't feeling. Pious, you know what I mean? The duality,
I want
the balance.
You to give me the definition of pious after this, but the most gangster niggas I ever known and we know in history is Christians. Where's these good Christians at? That ain't doing nothing. All the gangster niggas is Christians, man. Like, what the fuck? My mother was a Christian. She was a gangster. She held shit down on her own. It was her. It wasn't a bunch of kisses and huggies and rosies. We come from the ghetto. There's no kisses and huggies and roses. So where is this flowered version of these religious people who live in
Right.
these dirty ass areas.
Right,
What is
so-
this? What is piety?
Yeah, piety is like, okay, like I say, like a lot of evangelicals, and like I say, it's hard to be in a position to say, oh, I got all the resources, so I'm giving, so I'm a good person. Well, let's see how you act when you don't have that shit. You know what I'm saying?
asking it, what's the definition though? What is the definition of
Pious to me,
piety?
it's like
or pious.
it's like a sense of dignity.
Because I know
that
righteous
people- that
and
people-
morality, them ain't even good words. When people say you're not being righteous or you're not being
Yeah, let me
moral,
give you
them ain't even-
Webster's.
Them ain't even good words. Moralization and
The
righteousness.
quality of
is-
being religious or reverent. That's what it is. So
okay.
when
Quality
you
of
put
being religious, got it.
so even that definition, who's to say that that's a quality? You know what I mean? Like
For all the people who've created the dynamic where anything outside of religiosity is bad.
right.
So that's what makes it relevant because they created dynamic to where say if you don't do this, you bad. So it's piety and everything outside of that is the devil. It's like,
and like
the Romans.
Right. And like I said, I follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. You know what I mean? I'm like, but I follow a lot of different teachings. But one of the things that I learned, I think the main is that how to ask loaded questions, and I think what a loaded question does is it sets you up to know that you don't know shit, and it sets you up to know that you know what I mean? Like, I think the main thing I took out of a lot of the loaded questions that Jesus asked was that you got to be a student, man. You know what I mean? You got to be a student of life in general. Like,
Hit me with one. What was one of the loaded questions?
so so they came to him one time and it was like, all right, we're gonna get you with this. You telling us to pay tithes or whatever, but do we give this money to Caesar or do we get this to God? Because the religious people at the time was like, we know we're supposed to pay tithes, but we're also supposed to pay taxes. So they were like, okay, so which is it? Do we
Taxes
pay
versus
do
tithes.
we pay taxes? So he gave him this has the likeness of Caesar on this coin.
Give Caesar what is due.
Yeah, so he said, give to God what belongs to God, give to Caesar what belongs to Caesar. So it was kind of a loaded thing because it was like, damn, he didn't really answer it, but that put us in a situation of where, you know what I mean? We don't want to say we want to pay Caesar because then we're going to feel like we're not as religious as we thought we were. We don't want to say we're going to pay God because then Caesar will kill us. You know what I mean? So it put him in a bad situation to where it was a loaded question to where like, you need to stop asking me these fucking questions and realize. So it was, let me see, another situation where he was like, those without sin cast the first stone. You know what I mean? Could nobody really do it because it was one of those things that put you out there. So it's kind of like a strategy to reveal who you really are. You know what I'm saying? When you I'm not gonna give you the answer. I'm gonna train you how to think.
You mean a parable? You said it was
Yeah.
a loaded question.
Yeah,
One of those
a
was
parable.
questions.
So like a loaded question would be more like police pull you over. Say, hey, how's it going? Where you come from? Getting drugs? Oh no, sir. Oh, so you just dropped the drugs off? Or no? It's like no matter how you answer it, you're screwed.
Question got the answer built into it.
Yeah,
and shit.
exactly. So where you coming from? You coming from the dope house? Like, no, you going to it? No. Like, I don't know how I got.
Going to your mama house, officer.
Right.
Now that she sell pussy and dope.
Yeah. So but anyway, it was just.
Fuck out of here.
It was these situations to where it was like, yo, like, there's not an answer to this. You know what I'm saying? Or there's no answer. There's infinite amount of answer. You know what I mean? It just the fact that it inspired people to think. Like,
That sound like some shit I tell my daughter. She asked me some questions. I tell her some dumb shit like that. Like, not even saying that's dumb, but that's my thing is to innovate thought.
yeah,
I'm not here to answer no goddamn questions.
I do it with my guards. My boss tells me a lot of times too. He's like, they be calling you in the middle of the night asking you. He's like, you need to put the question back on them because that's what you pay them to do is think. So ask them, what is your suggestion? All right, go with that.
But I think we talked about this before too. This is the world we live in, where nobody wants to think, and they'll pay you to think for them.
No, because the thing is, there's a lot of fear of devastation. And we talked about that before too, is the fear of devastation is, damn, how much am I gonna lose trying to learn this? And people are afraid, you know what I mean? They're afraid of that fear of devastation. And we have to create, I feel like a lot of times we gotta create environments to where people can learn. And me and you talked about this, like my boss creates situations to where I can experiment without the fear of devastation. So I think if that's an understanding that people have, people are more, you know what I mean?
But wouldn't that be called school?
Yeah,
An
yeah.
environment where you go to learn that's safe.
I mean,
Niggas go to school, and then you say that the concept of fear of devastation, which I'm not disagreeing with, but I think that people are being trained to not think. You might call that fear of devastation, but if you're saying you had to go through school, work 20 jobs to find one where it's a safe environment for you to learn, like, well, what the fuck was the purpose of school?
well, I mean,
You know what I'm saying? Should you been
Right.
Well,
having that
the
fall?
right track, the right path.
Exactly.
it goes
all that wiping your knee, scrape your knee off, that fear is gone. We send you out to the world, but that's not the system that we live in. The system that we live in is a corporatocracy where it's, you know what I mean, we're gonna show it and we don't want you to have the information. So all you
Right.
do is you just go work. You don't need to think. You're not even being taught how to think. When you take a test, you just regurgitate as many of that information that you can remember from Monday till Friday. There's no cognizant thought where everybody in the classroom has their own answer based off their own train of thought. There's no field that you can even have that in school. They'll take you to the principal office.
Right,
How you
right.
come up with your own answer?
You know, it's like, well, you know what? It's like the music teachers, the art teachers. They're always
They
the
gone.
one. Yeah, and they're the ones that try to inspire them. That's why they get rid of them. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't like
Exactly.
that.
So that's why I say I don't necessarily disagree with the fear of, devastation shit where people don't even know that they're not thinking. People
Right.
don't even know what the
well-
process of thought is.
Well, because people don't, like I say, they don't want to suffer that loss based on their own thought process. Because this is what I experience a lot with my guys is they call in to get an answer, but they want to get an answer that's not going to get them in trouble. So instead of them trying to think through the situation and use their critical thinking skills,
What if they don't have those though? Where would they have got the critical thinking skills from if they just graduated from school that doesn't teach critical thinking? So it isn't a thing about devastation. You're dealing with individuals that don't know how to think. That's why I'm a grown man with balls, nigga. I would never want to call you and say, hey, what to do? Unless I really fucking don't know what to do.
oh, you know what? I mean,
You know what I'm saying? I don't think it's like if the fear was there, I think a nigga wouldn't pick up the phone and just go fuck up.
yeah, I think on that end, that fear comes from the fear
Niggas
of
don't know how to think.
I think it's the fear of being vulnerable at that point. Because when you like, I don't want to let this man know what I don't know. You know what I'm
If you
saying?
calling asking for help, you're being vulnerable.
You are exactly. But sometimes we need to do that though.
No, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm saying the catalyst to the behavior, I don't think that could be fear. I think it's just a nigga don't know. Really don't know how to think. Why you think a team of grown men would need a supervisor? Yo, you're the leader. No, what do we do? What he say do? Okay. What the fuck? Y'all niggas should be able to go, son.
Right.
So niggas don't know how to think. We gonna give you 12, all y'all other dumb niggas get 7. I'm gonna tell him what to do, he gonna tell y'all. There's no structure for thought.
Right. So I guess that's what I'm trying to create there is, you know what I mean?
Can't create that there, you gonna get fired. Nigga, you gonna get your own shit, and then you tell niggas, y'all can think, but you really don't want that neither.
Yeah, no, you know what?
That's
I mean,
the whole purpose of having a mind. That mind. It's like the fucking Ninja Turtles. You get to put that mind in somebody else's mind. That's what happened when I said you got a nice shirt. You said, do I thank you? That wasn't your thought. That's what I told you about your shirt, nigga. So you really gotta have a strong mind to understand, like, you damn near have to have a veil on to keep everything out, and then you can innovate your own thoughts.
Well, I think-
they don't come from the television.
well, also too, it goes.
You
Back,
know what I'm saying?
I think when you talk about that, it goes back into the frequencies we talked about. How you want to be around people that permeate the same energy. You know, what I'm saying?
Possible, or people who have information that you want and you deem valuable.
Right.
That's when you have seduction and personality, and these things was actually created. And the funny part about it was, these things was created in the quote unquote white world by women to prevent themselves from being raped and actually having a chance to actually ascend in the hierarchy, because it was just man shit, be shit, like white man shit. So for them, like, damn, I can't get raped if I put a dress on, put some perfume on, and I learn how to be seductive and run game, then she stand a chance. So all this shit that we seeing is not our dynamic of having to finesse, and be a certain kind of way. We
Yeah,
not living in our natural mind and space. So these things that we doing aren't coming from us as far as us sitting here thinking.
No, I agree. Like even professionalism has its connotations to it. Like, okay, so you know what I mean? Like your way of professional might be different in my line of work. Your line of work being professional in quote unquote corporate America versus like construction work. They got a different format. Like, you know, you take a construction worker, you try to put like that shit ain't gonna mesh. So I think
Professionalism in there is making sure the nails is flat and there's no splinters.
Yeah, or you know what I mean. There's all the PR stuff is taken care of. You know what I mean. So I think when it comes down to it, it's just creating our own environments. And I was talking to him about that. Everybody just being able to own something.
That's the power.
And having the dignity to be able to know how it feels to be a man and eat from your own plate. You know what I mean. I think that's the ultimate goal. And when I seen you over there, you was over there, messing with the stocks. I'm like, yo, he over there eating. I gotta, you know what I mean? That's one of the power dynamics that I picked up on. We gotta bring this man in here and spread this power dynamic and figure out what he knows. Yeah. And then, you know what I mean? So I'm always conscious of, like my man, Mr. 750. He done boosted my credit up like 50 points in the last couple months. He's like, yo, you just gotta learn how to bank. You know what I mean? It goes back to what you say. The banks ain't good or evil. It's just about you knowing how the system works and using it to your advantage.
You got to. They running game. They scamming. Why not? I'm not saying be a part of. Well, why not? I don't know. It depends on what you want. Like you said, if you feel like you here to build your empire, then why not join in everything that you can use as a resource to build your empire? That's what's righteous.
Well, I read like 48 Laws of Power, and some of them laws I could apply. You know what I'm saying? Like despise the free lunch, but some of them, like, I was like, nah, that's not in my character. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what the whole thing is just telling you. That shit is not real. It's make believe. You create a character, and then these are the attributes or the character that you're taking on.
Right.
It may not even be your real thoughts, feelings, and beliefs. It's just what you're using to manipulate and create the dynamic of power.
Right.
People don't understand that, and they'll say something like, oh, that man's not a man of good character. You don't know. He may not even be a gangster. He just putting that on for you. It's a fake.
Yeah,
it's
and that's what
you
society,
never fucking know.
I think that's what society teaches us to do. You know what I mean? And then when they find out who you really are, they'll be like, but this is who you paid for me to be.
That's what I think.
Like, you pay for me to cater to your illusion, and this is what you got.
That's it though, right? Like what you were saying, people's just trying to force their reality off on you. That's what the whole game is. If not, we would all run around shitting and puking on each other.
I mean,
who wants to fucking live in that world?
The game.
Niggas say no. We gonna make a sewage system. We're not gonna fucking have to be nose to nose with humanity. It would be ugly.
And then you know what? And this is all coming back to what the gang dynamic is, the energy, and just. You know what I mean? Trying to build the energy with people that are like-minded. You know what I mean? And that's ultimately what we're trying to do at the end of the day. And like that's what them kids on Reddit did. They got together with like-minded people that were like, fuck the system, man. Anarchy, we're going to go ahead and...
I don't even think it was that. It might have just been, let's get this bread.
The thing...
You know what I'm saying? Let's get this money.
Because they were losing money for a while, so I don't necessarily... I think it was the mentality was they just wanted to be disruptive. I think because I did a little bit of research and they were out there in front of Wall Street. They just wanted to show they had their currency was the power. And they were trying to show that it wasn't necessarily about the money, but it was about the power in the group dynamic. That's what I'm getting out of it.
Yeah, I mean, the money is, as you keep eloquently stating, money is not, it's an illusion.
Right.
If we talking about currency, we talking about energy.
Energy,
we talking
focus.
about copper. We talking about silver. We talking about gold. These things actually the best things to carry currency. So if I got good, positive energy and I say, yo, let's do commerce and we shake and you take this gold coin, that's actually a form of energy exchange.
Right.
Whereas a paper, it's no conduit.
That's a dead tree right there.
Exactly.
That's dead. You're like,
exactly.
It's dead by the time you get it.
Exactly. It's no conduit. It has no value. So obviously the trick is to create the money system, to have the real individuals put their energy behind it, then it becomes real.
Right.
Other than that, it's just monopoly and everybody's Shakespeare running their game. Hey, I made a pipe in my mouth and I run a Ferrari. You ain't shit, nigga. Because your energy ain't gonna lie. And for those who know energy, we know you the nigga off the monopoly thing, but really that ain't you.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it's just like,
well,
you know what I mean?
Like I said this about, used to say back in the day, like, man, you eccentric. And I'm like, damn, I feel like I didn't have enough money to be eccentric. But at the same time I was weird, but I was my kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? So I think the difference between being weird and eccentric is just the confidence that you have with it. When you being somebody else, you say
weird is not confident, or which one is the confident one?
Eccentric. I feel like eccentric is when you weird with confidence, and you just living like you being your like.
That's true. I agree.
Andy Warhol was the type of dude that was like
dope ass.
Dude is kind of weird, but he was confident and it's weird.
Dope ass.
You know what I'm saying? When you just weird and you not confident, you just a creep.
Low key.
You know what I mean?
You probably not a creep. But because you're so uncomfortable in your skin, everything you do is mad awkward.
And because your energy.
Yeah, your energy's off. Yeah. I do it all the time. I did it today. I was in the making people uncomfortable. I was in the store and I was dressed a certain way, and shorty saw me. She was like, "Yo, he's that guy." And then when she showed up, my energy wasn't rooted in that guy, so it was like, "Wait a minute. Is he that guy?" You know what I'm saying? Because my energy wasn't like, I was telling my man, I was like, yo, that's my fault. I don't think he even knew what I was talking about. I'm like, I seen her seeing me before I seen her. And then next you know, she's in the store. And it kind of threw me off a little bit. Like, boom, she was right there. I was like, holy shit, she right there. You know what I'm saying? So I had to kind of like get the energy together and then be a normal guy. But it was already like, kind of too late.
You had already
manifested her that quick, dog. I'm like,
no, I used to get I was a thug. I used to give off a lot of thought energy, so I'd end up with these women in these situations, and I'm like, damn, you know what I mean? And then when I stopped, being that guy, I finally found me a nice woman. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because I wasn't even looking. That was the thing. It's like you said, it manifested. Yeah. I was at work doing my job, hardworking guy. I found my woman when I was at work. I wasn't in the club. I wasn't out in the street. I wasn't in the bar.
That's the subconscious, though. You know
right.
What I'm saying? Niggas live out the monkey mind. That's what the like people who practice the Tao, they call it the monkey mind. Your shit is always moving. It's not even your real mind. That shit is it's a computer, and it's saying, like, you talk about emotions. These are all things that we supposed to have at our disposal to say, it's time to make music. Let me tap into my emotions.
Right.
It's time to create.
Right.
Let me tap into my thoughts. But we run around in our thoughts all day, and we don't ever listen to the heart. We don't ever go with our instinct.
It's a balance to it. There's a time and place for all of that. Like I say, emotions. Emotions, you don't need that in business. You need that when you creating something, when you creating a product that people need to feel. You know what I mean? Those are good. But when you get angry at work, then you're gonna lose that fucking paper or that job or that situation.
It ain't 5D shit. It ain't 3D shit. Emotional is something you can't see, so it's not even in this realm.
Right.
And then if I start acting emotional, I'm gonna bring that realm into this realm, and it's gonna be weird. Like, why is he acting like that?
Yeah.
It's not even real. It's not. Just chill. It'll pass.
Yeah.
You're human. It's in your body. You feel it, and you let it go. You move on, and you use your heart. Do what your heart says. You use your gut, but the mind and emotions is what we're taught to live out of.
Right.
Going to school. He hurt my feelings. Well, I don't really know what to do. You just, you cut that shit off. Cut that shit the fuck off.
It's a time and place. It's
It's difficult, though, because when you learn from kindergarten all the way your whole life to use your mind, and even like as our culture concerns, we had my moms, grandmoms couldn't read. So it was kind of like, well, y'all niggas get a chance to use your mind. So I was like, oh, yes, I want to be a smart Negro. And now it's kind of like, I played myself. I was better off with my instincts, using my heart, and letting that guide me instead of just reading every book and then analysis by paralysis. You ain't really moving nowhere. When you would have just stayed as a kid, stayed fucking with the music or whatever your heart was telling you to do, you would have been on your path to your true self. But now you done activated your mind and your emotions, and you said, Mom told me this shit. You mad at her. It's like, you set back 10 years before you figure out how to shut your mind down, how to have intelligent emotions, and get back to being the kid who did what his heart felt and could use these things as a tool. It take you another lifetime to get back there.
Bro, when I quit drinking and smoking again, I felt like an eighth grader when I was talking to females. Like, it was awkward. I was like, because all of that time that I was trying to experience those emotions,
Battery.
I had those substances
He was
with
on
me.
that battery. Yeah.
So I was like, I was a grown man, like I scared to dance at a quinceañera with a woman. Like, like my man's like, come up here, and I was like, I don't got that liquid courage no more. I'm
That's
just
a
gonna
fact.
observe.
You've never, right, as your true self, have never had that experience.
Exactly.
You didn't have it. Whoever the fuck, when you hit the weed, you brought whoever the fuck he
Yeah,
is like,
right.
this nigga got it.
And that was a humbling experience in itself. So I had to do like,
That was
I don't
dope.
know, there was like a Star Trek where like
dope.
Leonard Nimoy or whatever, Spock had to like learn all this shit again. Like I felt like that in that situation.
Spock was dumb smart.
Yeah. So he had to come back and
Yeah.
he had to recreate his mind from where he left off.
What the fuck was that? Star Trek the Sherm High
I
episode?
don't know what
That
it
nigga
was.
left and came back. I was like, yo, I come down.
I came back and I was
the fuck
like, but
happened?
it was crazy though. But when I realized I manifested was like, even with the situation with this job where I'm like, I'm in charge of other people. I was sitting there the other day and I bought this queen bed because my queen was like, yo, this little fool ain't doing this ain't doing good. We need a better bed. And I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? You good to me. I'm gonna make sure you got nice things. So I went and bought the bed. I'm sitting there. I woke up in the morning and my brother looked at that a bunch of boards. He was like, did that come from with instructions? Because that's gonna be a hell of a puzzle to put together. And I'm like, damn, because this is my guy that I come to get shit put together. I'm looking at that pile now like, fuck, you know what I mean? I'm maybe I gotta Google this shit. Nah, you know what? I sat there and I said, you know what? I could do this. Sat there, put the whole bed together. He came in, he was like, bro, did you like Google the instructions or something? I was like, nah, I just leveled up, bro. And he was like, I see. And at this moment, I could see that he understood that this is not the same fucking dude that I was used to. Like my brother done hit another level. This is a man that I'm dealing with now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Time isn't linear though. Niggas think time is linear, but we never realize that we're going in seasons and it's a cycle. It's not a straight line.
Right,
so
right.
we would never be able to catch ourselves.
Right. So just that situation let me know that the critical thinking skills that I was developing was helping me in all areas of my life. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
And ultimately that's what this is all about. But man, I love to sit here and chop up with you more, but we'll be here all night. You know what I mean?
how we do.
I love Fader. I love to have you come back again. Also, you got your podcast. You want to go ahead and
Oh yeah, I got some things going on.
yeah, man, go ahead and drop.
I done jumped in a whole nother bag. You know, I wasn't even in my self-promotion bag. I just was in my teacher bag.
Right, that's how I felt too. I'm just
You know
like,
what
we
I'm
just
saying?
having a decent conversation.
So many different egos. You know what I mean?
I know you got the Faded Saint.
Faded
You got
Saint though. My podcast is called Saints Room. You can get it on Anchor. It's on Spotify. Yeah, so check that out. You could go to Faded_Saint. That's my Instagram page. I also have links to my Anchor on there too. So like I appreciate the invite. You know what I mean? I know I'm like, you know, it's like getting Obama in here. Something I'm hard to get up with, but it's a pleasure being able to speak and share information. And I hope I was able to provide something in some way or form that was able to add benefit and value to somebody this afternoon. So that's my prayers.
all right. So you got any drops you want to do, Alberto?
Well, like I told you earlier, I got this sketchy ass LLC paper that I gotta go through. But we got yoga coming to Phoenix. Was gonna start some men program, then eventually lead out to the fam, bring everybody out. We're gonna do some yoga in the park. Small, but be on the lookout for that. I'm gonna have an Instagram and. I'm looking into some studios to start teaching in, some black studios, my jiu-jitsu gym, but yeah.
We
Keep
might have to
rocking with us.
collab on that gym thing too. Once you get up in there, I might could come through with some burdock root tea. You know what I'm talking about? Some sarsaparilla tea.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother. Because me and this dude
citrus
both
tea.
herbalists, and I've been
You know what I'm
studying.
talking about?
Yeah, we've been studying that. He into health and fitness too. He do the juices, I do the smoothies. So that's a whole nother thing. That's a whole nother venue we gonna have to touch with, because just those vibes are in themselves.
Health
But
and wellness.
yeah, so that's gonna be a whole nother podcast in itself, because we all from the mind, body, and soul we can touch that. I would just like to give a shout out to my companies. Integrity Threads is INTEG-GRITTY Threads, THREADS, and then Hustle Memory Clothing. I got those on Instagram. You can check it out. I'm right now. I'm doing a lot of the quality control, just making sure all my garments will make it through, the cycles and making sure everything is legit before I, send it out to the public. Because I'm anal like that when it comes to, my product. So I'm excited about that. I got the hats and everything from hats to watches, shoes going on. So check that out, and we appreciate y'all listening to us once again. Stay tuned for the next podcast, and we're gonna be doing some big things.
Peace, love, and light, y'all.